Okay. Right. So, so you can get a lot of knowledge here, and as well as you can get a certification as well. And if you have a bit of a money, they have their own certification exams as well, which you can carry on. Right. So that's the first resource. Yes, yes. So if you want to do a certification, you have to pay for it, but you really don't have to pay for everything. Right. And then, of course, these are their standards that they're teaching. So I really want you to work on 20,000, also 22301, and also EU GDPR. So they have some resources as well, which you can look into, because when you're talking about these familiar standards, right, or similar standards, very important that you cover some of them as well. Because when even you're going to do ISO 27000, knowing EU GDPR or GDPR as we say it, knowing that is also very important. Sometimes people think, okay, that's a completely different standard, but it is not, because these things are highly linked together, right? So how they're highly linked together, they are kind of connected. And so knowing this, so there's a free course for this as well. So do that. So I'll touch my basics as well. And apart from that, as you can see, there are some webinars. Please register for those. It can be really value added. Okay, a lot of people are disconnecting. I think the internet is very bad these days, right? I think we all have to start talking to this dialogue and SLT buggers to give a better internet connectivity. Right? So otherwise, Sri Lanka will lose the IT people as well, because without having a good connectivity, I think you can't do anything else. Okay, right. So I hope it is clear. Right. So then, so you have to, one other thing that you have to fish for would be these things like checklists, plans, right? And also questions. For this is a list of questions. Ask a GDPR consultant. Right? So we'll download this. So see, guys, try to understand. You also need to build a set of templates like this. So in your book, and you have to create a resource kit where you need to have all this documentation, right? So because if you don't have it, right, if you don't have it, you will not be able to consult properly. So I told you, the journey for you to become a consultant, you need to build up your toolkits. So toolkits, people who are aware, that's fine. Otherwise, it's not a big deal. Right? Toolkits are always maybe like their documentation. Like it shouldn't be a software, but a simple documentation. Even a simple questionnaire would be enough, right? Because simple questionnaires also would be becoming really handy. So you sometimes don't understand the value of good questions. If you have at least 2 to 3 questions or 4 to 5 questions, which are highly targeted towards your client, right? You can get a good knowledge or good know-how about what's really happening there in this organization, right? So now we'll go through this question just to simulate. Now, I think most of you are aware about the GDPR, but let's see like how a questionnaire can help you to build up as a consultant. So write your questions in this way. So you can write these questions about your life even if you want to, and then you can rectify if there's an issue. As an example, write down 3 goals of your life. But now maybe you're looking up and down. But this is like a good consultation practice session also. I don't know how many of you are willing to share your goals, right? So that's okay. Will we do a small exercise now? Can you please say this is like you can share this in your chat window, right? So I'm opening my chat window. Let's see how we're going to do this. I'm not going to ask your personal goals, right? But say, but this one you can do. We have 50 people now, so others also can see what people value. So we'll try to share it. I think we can use something like Google Jamboard, but we'll try to make it quick this time. Right. First question, right? First question, guys. What are the 3 major skills if you're going to market yourself, right, for an interview or a consultation interview? Write down the 3 major skills of yours where I would give you a consultancy job. It can be technical, it can be managerial, it can be any other. So for me, I'll tell you, right, what are my 3 major skills? I'm highly creative in my mind, right? So yeah, somebody might agree, it doesn't matter. I'm highly creative. Second, I can communicate things, right? highly creative. Second is I can communicate things. Third, I would believe that always I can convince someone, not for many things, but at least for the technical things. So those I believe are my major skills. Hope it's clear to everyone. I'm not going to write them down. Others, so this can be varying, right? You can have varying things. You're good on a very particular technical, but I really don't want, I know Node.js a lot. No, not that I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about generic skills, technical or non-technical. Right, I'll give you 5 minutes to go ahead, and I want everyone to put it in the chat window for others to see, because this is something public, right? So you have to share it anyway. Do it now. Take 2 to 3 minutes and think through, write in your notepad and just paste it in now the chat window. Do it. So I believe that you all understood, right? So let me double check. Right, okay. Roy, are you clear?
Yeah, I just pasted on the
Oh,
chat.
yes, you posted. Okay. All right. So it's clear, I believe, right? People who have done this, think through. My second question, major question is, I'll narrate it to ISO 27000 or any other standard later on. What are the next 3 major skills that you need to acquire in the next year, this year? Right? Do you want to get, so we'll talk about this in a bit, to earn dollars. So now earning rupees is basically bullshit. Earn dollars. So what are the other 3 major skills you wanted to clarify, or sorry, to acquire to go there, right? So maybe you have to streamline some of the skills that you're already having, but I really want you to think ahead. Right, go ahead. So maximum 3 minutes, huh? Thanks. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I think most of you have added other than few of you. Okay, so if I go through quickly, I don't want to give the names. So motivator, static planning, okay, team player, I think those are valuable. Right, so those are your ones. So most of them are working on this idea of problem solving and planning. Right? Curiosity, a lot of people are putting curiosity as well. Yeah, that's good because if you're curious, you're looking for new things, and that is a really valued one. But guys, now this is the one that I really wanted to push you through. Now, there's a small story here as well, the dollar story. Now, Sri Lanka, I think I shared this once also previous lecture. Now, Sri Lankans are really good. Some people say Sri Lanka is bad, Sri Lanka is stupid, Sri Lanka is bullshit. Right? If you want, you can put comments as well. Quickly, we'll go through this idea. It's a very important idea, right? So people are blaming, right? So Sri Lankan is, so, but try to understand if you are blaming politicians, no, blame executives. If you're blaming executives, blame politicians. If you blame politicians, blame doctors. If you blame doctors for COVID, blame patients. So like basically, we have to blame all of us. So it's stupid to blame one party. This is our own fault, everybody's fault. Facebook says otherwise, but Facebook is stupid, at least those posts. So what my point is, our Sri Lankans are really good because we are like, most are religious, right? Whether it's Islamic or Hinduism or Buddhism or whatever other thing, we are religious, most of us. And also people are good. There are atheists and whoever, and people are knowledgeable, educated. 92% of our people in our country can read. They're not stupid. Of course, there are some stupid people. There's 1%, 2%, 3%. That's they are in all the countries. Then why in the world, as they say, why in the fact that we are having one of the third, still we are in the third world country? Reason is, I'll tell you, we don't have systems thinking. Right? We don't have systems thinking. So what is systems thinking? What the fuck is the systems thinking? It is a concept that we can look into theoretically base. So in a theoretical base, there should be a one which can be probably look to the past, and one that is being used by someone as a best practice. Again, it's a standard most of the time. Now, the one that probably I think I have shared one thing called PPV, right? PPV is pillars, pipelines, and walls, which I'm using now, right? So which is a model of systems thinking, right? So where if you're using that, your life is completely put into this best practice called PPV. You start with the goals, then you have pipelines, projects, and you have walls, which are your knowledge base. Another one would be Zettelkasten. Zettelkasten is a method, a systematic thinking, systems thinking, right? Which can be generalized applied for a lot of people, right? And then can be applied for learning purposes. It's a way of kind of categorizing your knowledge. Zettelkasten, which is used in Rome research. I think I've done a session. Another one would be Pomodoro Timer. Pomodoro Timer. I think I showed that as well. Pomodoro Timer is you can put your time into 30 minutes. Deep work. Yeah, you switch off your computer, switch off your phone, ask your friends, family not to disturb you. 30 minutes, you're going to work. Right? After that, 5 minutes, you are going to have all the fun in the world. And again, 30 minutes. Likewise, 2 hours, 3 hours, you're going to work. You're not getting disturbed. Right? So that is Pomodoro time and deep work. Another system thinking. Right? And then you have Warren Buffett. They say how to invest. Systems thinking. Can someone tell me what is systems thinking used by Warren Buffett? One of the richest people in the world. Can you cover it? You guys can hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can tell man, Roy, do you know like what is the systems thinking used by Warren Buffett? This knowledge is very important to be a consultant. Yeah, this is called don't put all eggs in one basket. Put in different baskets. That's called diversification investment. If you're going to invest, if you're 100 rupees, 20 rupees in real estate, 20 rupees in share market, 20 rupees in cryptocurrency, 20 rupees in the bank savings account as well, or FD. And that strategy is for systems thinking. How many of us using it? Even Lord Buddha had said it. I don't know whether the Buddhist, but he's a Catholic, I believe, but he's doing it. Right? So that's systems thinking. Okay. And there's another systems thinking called Varnapala method. Systems thinking. I think you have heard about Varnapala method, no? Professor Varnapala had a girl who liked, but that girl didn't like him. So what he said was, what he did was, hangila indala warna pala yanawa anamana kiwa. So galla meth ekka hitana galla තරහ යනවා. ඊට පස්සේ මුරත් තරහ යනවා පෙන්නලා. So you go and talk to the girl and say අපි උන්ට පේන්නම යාළුවෙමු කියලා කියන. That's systems thinking. So knowingly or unknowingly, if you're using a technique which really takes you to the next level, that's system thinking. අපේ රටින් නැත්තේ ඔක තමයි. තියෙනවා හරි අඩුවෙන් තියෙන්නේ. So if you have to build systems thinking. Now see how this matters to our lesson being a consultant, because now your skills should map into systems thinking. First of all, as a consultant. Now, as an example, somebody can say, I'm a public speaker. But if it is not on a systems thinking, where you go ahead with the public speaking? Right? How do you use your skills to map it to systems thinking and get something done? So now the thing is, somebody said public speaking, then what you should understand is your public speaking skill put into a model of systems thinking. So how a public speaker can be good. Now, good example is Barack Obama. That bugger being, I don't like his way of doing things. And that bugger simply ruined several places in the world, some countries, but he says system thinking, public speaking. If you study his systems thinking, he know how to change people, right? So his public speaking used in a model, right? So, and then it simply changed the world. And even other people like Sadhguru or the popular figures in the world right now uses their public speaking skills to create billion-dollar businesses. If it's not a billion-dollar business, it can be something to like spread the word of the religion that they believe in, whatever. The goal is simply taken out. So you have to drill down, cut down public speaking into a methodology or a systematic thinking, how to achieve your objectives. Now, as an example, another one would be influencer. So influence is a great skill, right? So if you can influence people, great skill, but you have to put it into systematic thinking. Can you tell me one or two people or few people who are using influencing a lot? There are a lot of influencers in, I shouldn't say the app, that if you understand that, then you'll understand the systematic thinking. Now say influencing is a model. That modality is being used in where? Where is it being used 100% effectively? Instagram. So Instagram. So now Instagram is a $1 billion industry. Instagram, we could want Facebook at $2 billion. But here what you have is that model of influencing. So try to understand. So that is being taken as a what? As a system model. So what the whole purpose or whole build model using Instagram is using that system thinking of influencing. So whoever the bugger who can influence someone, he do things in Instagram, and that influencing power can be converted into a business model. Right. So what I'm saying now is the final extract of the whole lesson is, for the last 15 minutes, your skills, whatever the current skills, put it into a systematic model. And as a consultant, with this ISO 27000 whatsoever, try to see how you can use your skills of curiosity, influencing, attention to detail, and a lot of other people have mentioned. You can copy this one. This is very useful, right? Keep a copy of this one. Persuasive. See whether you have those skills. These are the skills that you really need, of course. Business analysis skills, interpersonal skills, self-learning. That's another great one. You have to be a self-learner here, right? And of course, I'll tell you another great one which I can extract from the system thinking. Do journaling every day morning. Every day morning, open up a book, right, using a pen, or use Rome Research or Notion, or whatever the shit that you're using. Journal every day. That's systematic thinking. That's a system. Everybody in Sri Lanka who started journaling, our country will start earning, big time. Right? I'll tell you how the systematic thinking applied to the whole country. Now, what is the systematic thinking or system that we are using to export revenue? We have T. How does T do? Now you guys care to talk with me. Right. So can someone talk with me for a moment? One or two people. Now, what is the main revenue for Sri Lanka? There are few. What is the mainline revenue? Ravindra, can you talk with Ravindra? Or yeah, someone. Srikanth, yes. What is the top of the line export revenue for us? One. Give me one. Srikanth, yes.
Exporting, sir.
Exporting what? Tea, right? Rubber is out. Rubber is out. Now tea is the main exporter. Chatura, yes?
Tea, sir. Yeah.
Tea. Who gave? Now there's a systematic model here, no? Who gave the systematic model? මොකද systematic model එක මම කියන වැරදි වෙන්න පුළුවන් සමහරට up country tree, low country tree කියලා දෙකකට කැඩුවා. And then we have a method of cultivating it. Of course, Indian Tamil අරන් ආවා. ඒක හරි හෝ වැරදි අපිට වැඩක් නැහැ. They found out the right method of doing it, and then they found out the best places and the best tea, and they developed it. And then of course logistic, including logistic to markets where tea is needed, they have defined. Who defined it? අපිට කරේ නැත වෙන කවුරු හරිද? Whose systematic model is that? Yes, Shrikant. Anyone please? ටග්ගල මේක අපි කර ගන්න ඕනේ.
English paper.
Sudha bugger. Yes, obviously. So we are blaming all the English buggers, but those are the people who build that model. Now Hitanda, now that is being done by Sudha bugger. Right? So that systematic model, because the systematic model, we are still earning around $2 billion, $3 billion every year. එහෙම නැත්නම් ලංකාව lost ඇත්තටම. I'm not anyway partying for this any British imperialism or whatever. I really I really hate those buggers for doing that and taking all our what they did was we had a lot of systematic thinking. They took all of that and they vanished everything out of our Sri Lankan soil and they built their ones. It's okay, fine, but we have to hate them for that, but at the same time we have to value what they have left us. So that is there. What is the second one that we are earning export revenue?
Garments.
What is that?
Garments items.
What items? I can't hear you. Sorry.
Textile.
Textile, apparel. Yes. So whose systematic model is that? Now we'll see whether you know the history of apparel industry. Apparel is earning like last year near $5 billion, and last year, sorry, few years back, and then 2020 there was good earnings. 2021, of course, sorry, 2019 it was good, and 2020 around because of the COVID, obviously around $4+ billion, and this year I think things will be worsened, but still up to this point they have earned around $2 billion. Right, so in the first 2 quarters. But who implement that systematic model? It's a systems thinking, right? Apparel, where it works and it goes Victoria's Secret to whoever, Tommy Hilfiger and whatever. So that connection, who did that? Who built that model, systematic model? Guys, you should know this. So today's whole idea of this session is implement system thinking as a consultant. If you want to become a great consultant and great someone, smart guy or lady, implement systems thinking in your life. Addama karanna meka. So yeah, that's the whole idea.
American plus also Hong Kong, China is also involved with it.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, of course, I agree, Patrick. But I think UNP government, I think including people like Ranil Wickramasinghe and few other guys really helped it. So yeah, so I'm not again parting with Mr. Ranil Wickramasinghe. I hate that guy for sure. But there are people who have done good things. You have to understand that. So this apparel model really worked for a country like Sri Lanka. I think it's not the best one. We have to change it time to time. But for a large number of years, it really helped our economy. So we shouldn't blame what happened. All throughout, people look at a negative side of it. Apparel industry and ගෑල්ලා prostitute. label එක. But we have to understand we කාලා බිල ජීවත් වෙන්නේ because of this idea of this apparel, right? Because mask to hella clothing to these people they are in Kenya also. They have invested a lot in there. So it's a systematic model. And then of course again tourism, I think it's everywhere, I think, but we have not doing it right. That's my way of thinking. So if you had the right tourism model, systematic model been implemented after post-COVID, I think we can still earn a lot of money. And of course, guys, then comes the most important one, the IT industry. Of course, there are several people who want to value it. The model is already there, right? Previously, the model was something called BPO, business process outsourcing, but now we have gone to KPO, knowledge processing outsourcing, but we are not doing it right. How many of us exporting our consultancy power? Anyone? No, we don't have consultancy organization in Sri Lanka. We have ENY, we have KPMG, we have PricewaterhouseCoopers, all these buggers, what they do is if they want to implement ISO 27000, they get people from India. What the hell? Anyone here from those companies? You can talk to me. For the big projects, big consultancy projects, do you guys still get people from India? Can you please tell me the reality right now? Or are you guys doing it? When I check back few years or like few months back, still Indians are coming here. Not that Indians are bad. I don't have that mindset. Indians are good. Yes, someone? Are you interested on the discussion? If so, please let me know. President Premadas, sorry, Sanjeeva, yes, really sorry about Ms. Sanjeeva. Yes, it's President Premadas, not Ranil Wickramasinghe, yes. So I think I missed the point there. I really wanted to talk about him as well. Yeah, so he basically strategized the whole operation, I believe. There should be a lot of other hidden players as well, but we have to value what they have done. Yes, Amal also had mentioned it. Yes. And then, of course, we have some people are working on exporting of minerals, which is another great one. I think we have a lot of places where we have good minerals, so somebody should work on that. Our geologists in our country, I don't know what they're doing, but they probably have done good things. There are a few things that we can earn billions of dollars. Yeah. So gem industry, another one, I think, but you have to push them to a model where it can bring in enough revenue. So you have to think through a systematic stand. But if you just say, okay, this and that and all that, okay, we try to do, no, it doesn't work. So we have to make sure, okay, where can we earn? So as an example today, my whole point is KPO is the industry, knowledge process outsourcing. Everyone sell their knowledge to other people. So India is earning a lot of big bucks because they are working for Dubai, they are working for Middle East, they're selling their services. When there were days for Middle East, all the consultancy came from Europe and America, sometimes from Japanese countries, Singapore, Europe and America, Philippines, Europe and America, even China, Europe and America. Now, do you know how many consultants are there coming from India? Most of them. But what about Sri Lankans? We have a lot of consultants around the world who are there, not in Sri Lanka. They don't market Sri Lanka. They do market whatever the country that they are in right now. Most of the best consultants, of course, now there's a big percentage who are there from Sri Lanka. Now in NASA, there's this consultant from Sri Lanka, but they never say that they are a Sri Lankan. So that doesn't count to us, because whatever the earnings that they do, this goes to the US, not to us. The point is KPO, we need to make sure we as consultants, we should grow. So that is one of the biggest areas we can earn billions, where you guys have to market yourself as consultants. But I'll tell you the secret, or today's the crux point for the lesson is you guys have rather systematic thinking. So whatever the systematic thinking that you're using, it's up to you. That's why I asked this question. Yeah, most of you answered right, but now you need to put attention to the detail. That's like Bala Sankar said, he's one of your skills, but you have to put attention to details about your skills and put it aligned with systematic thinking. I shared a few earlier, a PPV model, settle custom model, deep work model, journaling methods, and there are millions. If you watch, there's in YouTube, if you search for Charlie Munger's, he's one of the best friends of Warren Buffett. If you search for Charlie Munger's best practices or standards, or as they say, it, systems, mental models, right? All these words, same thing, right? So search for, you'll find 15 videos of him explaining. Actually, he's saying around 41 models that he'll be using every day to become one of the best investors, parallel to Warren Buffett. So you also have to do it, right? So future skills, I think some of you have even shared some of them. So I do think one of the major skills that you should build up yourself is how to convert your skills into systems thinking, and also build up set of, like, say few, 1 or 2 or 3 or like 40, like Charlie Munger's does, right? Charlie Munger's. You have to have several systems thinking in your brain and your daily lifestyle. So another one, I would say, one system thinking is listen to audiobooks, right? So listen to audiobooks, how it can be a system thinking, because I told you earlier, or read books, but audiobooks is easier. You can listen to them in 3x speed. If you are good, having brain capacity to take it in, you can learn it, listen to it 2x speed. So now see, this is the idea, whole idea. What is the system thinking here? If you're good in reading, yeah, this is the one, right? Your skill is you're good in reading. This is how you can convert to systems thinking. Now see, if you read Obama's book, what is his book? That Bagash wrote 2 books. And recently, our neighboring Priyanka Chopra had written a book about her life. So it's like a New York Times bestseller. Anyway, think about Warren Buffett or think about Barack Obama. He had been trained to become a politician over 40 years. Right? And he wrote a book. Right? Okay, somebody had land promise. Yeah, maybe yes. I can't exactly remember. I'm thinking about, I think, the first one. Anyway, so now that book you can read within 10 hours, or the audio book put in 2x speed you can read within 2 hours, right? Or else if you go to places like Story Shorts or Blinkist, you can get the full idea within 10 minutes, 12 minutes. There's an app called 12 minutes as well. So why there are these apps? Blinkist, 12 minutes, short stories, Story Short. Why do you have all these apps? Oh, there's another one called Headspace, not Headspace, Headshot or something. There are plenty of apps. Why there are apps? Because that's the systems thinking used by people in the world. So what happens? I tell you, Obama, whatever he learned in 40 years, guys, you can learn it. Dreams from my father, exactly, right? So you can take only 10 to 20 minutes to understand all that rest from that bugger. Right? If you read Mahatma Gandhi's book, one of the books, or his memoir, right, or autobiography, you can grab the whole concept of what he did right, what he did wrong, and then you can learn it within 10 minutes. That's the strategy. So now, guys, it's better if we can take a few minutes, 5 minutes, find out bit search on what are the systems thinking models a consultant can use, right? And then you can paste it here. I'll give you 5 minutes. So now those are the systems thinking that you should address or you should work on. So can you take few minutes, search in Google what are the system thinking models or system models, mental models as they say it, which there can be, and what do you want really to use? Is that clear what I explained here the last probably 45 minutes? Ravindra, is that clear? Ravindra Jayasingha?
Yes, sir.
Rohana, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay, can we take 5 minutes and write down? And thank you so much for everyone to put it in. And please take a copy of this. This is really valuable. If you want, you can remove the names, right? It's okay to keep the names as well. This is really valued content. As an example, say, let me take 1 or 2 minutes, like work smart. I think, yes, working hard is long gone. Work smart, right? And then probably we get something very different. Say, okay, convince technical things to non-tech management level under pressure. Exactly. I think Mr. Sanjeev has said how to implement solution business under pandemic. I think that is probably one of the core skills we have to work on. How do you take out now people like our good example, Mr. Dhammika Pereira had been earning more money, as he says, under pandemic. And I know Nike, if you refer to that, Nike had created a complete like $1 billion investment on their new line of shoes and other things in the time of pandemic. So they have understood the problems in the times of COVID, and they came up with a good solution. And places like Shopify has created so many shopping malls online, which is needed. Likewise, the big companies are anyway earning money because they know how to. So that's another systems model that you have to use. Okay. All right. So can you please take 5 minutes now? Think about system models, mental models you have to use as a consultant, or like I believe you all want to become consultant at one point. Otherwise, I'm failing as a lecturer here if I'm not convincing enough that you're consulting. What is that, Kira? So I'm not good. But anyway, I assume that you all want to be consultants. So now my question is, write down 3 systems thinking models, mental models that you have to add here or learn to become a great consultant. Yes, start. And please put it in the chat box for everyone to see. Okay. So I'm seeing some people are sending, but very few. So hope you guys have understood the concept. I'm a bit worried whether you lost in between about the whole topic today. So please put your messages. So then we all know that you have learned the idea. Maybe not completely, but yes. But so if you are really worried, put it to as a DM to me. That's okay. I understand the thing. But I think it's okay to. But remember this. Please do this as activity today. Take like 2 to 3 hours, guys. Invest some time into this. I'll share several videos for you to see, and you will be amazed about the results that you are getting. But try your best to personalize it, guys. Don't just say there's a model like this and I'm going to use it. Right? So, but no, just think through. Right? Think through. So I'm going to ask a few questions of yours to can you guys see my screen now? Yes, no? Yeah. So I'm going to ask a few questions of some of you. Why you selected this method, and then you can answer me as well. Okay. So let me go through. I'm going to read without the names. One of our participants said, to understand system, first watch to see how it behaves. Yeah, exactly. Right? So you can convert it to a, yeah, exactly. To convert, it's like called reflection, not reflection, right? Behavioral analysis, yes. But you have to add another small component called reflection. So then, because you have to write things down, or you have to model things, I think. Isn't it, Lakshan? Sorry. So anyway, sorry for that. But anyway, I think this is not a big deal. So I think that's a very good one. So if anyone wants to comment on it, you can comment. What I would say is understand the behavior. Now, this is being used a lot as system model. Bio-inspired computing. What is bio-inspired? Wright brothers looked at a bird flying and then modeled their aeroplane. And then Tai Chi and Kung Fu, martial arts, all based on the animal movements, animal behaviors, and you understand the system. And then you, what is the most interesting behavioral understanding in these days? Lakshan, can you tell me? Right now, what is the most prominent model technology being used in this using the same semantics? Understand the behaviors and understand the system. Anyone?
Neural network.
Exactly. Yes, Subhanagan, right? Subhanagan, right? Yeah, perfectly. Yes, your brain is a neural network. And now, like 1950s, people have found out, okay, yes, there's a model that we can build on the computer. Now with deep learning facilities, there's no bugger in the whole wide world who's not using something like a neural network. That's directly a benefit of behavioral modeling. Thank you, Lakshan, for putting that out. Great system model. So how can you use it? Can someone tell me how can you use that simple model? Understand. So I will copy paste it in the chat for everyone to see. A great model which you all can use. Sorry, everyone in the room, everyone in the meeting, sorry. Okay, now probably you can see it. No one in the meeting room. Yeah. So to understand system, first to see how it behaves. Yeah. So how can you like tell me how we can use this as a consultant for a situation like ISO 27000? See, these are the greatest lesson that you can learn, that you can never learn from even a university or wherever. This is what you have to learn, guys. Then I don't think hereafter you don't have to look far away to learn something new or to build business or to become a great consultant. Can someone tell me, even Lakshan can tell me, how this base concept can be used as a consultant? Okay, I'll give a case study now. Then we'll try to understand it. You're going to put on ISO 27000 into a company like Pereira Sons. Do you need ISO 27000 first? I don't know. But if it's this case, how do you do that? Okay, sorry. Yeah, so a signal dummy. That's okay. Yeah, so now the thing is this. First of all, you have to understand that machine, how it works. So you have to do an analysis. Probably you can sit down there and see how the business runs. You have to be there, right? You have to see how this operation happens, how many people come and go, right? Who are the people who take decisions? You have to understand the beast from inside out. And then you have to model it. Now what you should do, this is the point that is important. There can be hundreds plus case studies in the world, how to implement ISO 27000 or related standard to a company in that nature. So don't reinvent the wheel. Right? So as an example, you have a tough CEO to handle or tough manager to handle. Guys, don't try to like be a baby. Like, so these sort of models are already there. In the world, there are only like 10 to 20 human models. There's this guy who never listened to you. So you have to go the other way around. There are some people that shows that they are listening, but they're not listening. They're good to ask questions, that's all. So likewise, try to model, okay, this Mr. Nimal in Perasan's manager is this kind of person. So that's it, how you model it. So I believe you understood it. Then expand your boundaries. Yes, yeah, you have to, but further clarify that one to a system model, Lakshan. But anyway, it's okay. Articulate your model, exactly. So that's the one that I was saying. You have to articulate everything that you model. Right? Model, yeah. Anyway, model is articulation anyway, but the whole idea is whatever the behavioral analysis that you're getting, put it to a model. Put it, use like a tool like Figma these days, right? Use a tool like Figma or mind map or any other model to do that. And then expose this model to, he's like going through a complete system, right? Okay, expose this model to other credible people to their feedback, decides where to intervene. Perfect. I think he had drilled down a complete systematic model. Very good. Then we have, I would not give out the name, 4WH, what, where, when, and how. Okay, very famous model. I think there's a book written on the subject. So use that one as well. So this is exactly what the figure that you're seeing, sorry, the diagram, not diagram, the document that you're seeing here is basically most of the questions. What questions? You can see, no? බලන්න මේ මේකේ තියෙන GDPR consultant questions ටික what's තියෙනවා, how's තියෙනවා, does see කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා. හරි? ඒවා තමයි තියෙන්නේ. So use that model, 4WH model. Always. Don't worry. When you have a question, always asking, what is the real problem? Why it is a problem? How come it be a problem to me? Right? Drill down, write down. Make it a practice. Even personal, personal but still, if you can keep the worry aside for a moment, yes. So as an example, how I do that assignment this bugger is giving us to write a book. Okay, so this use a 4WH approach. So what he's expecting, why he's doing this, and when we have to do that, so you can backtrack everything. So try putting it into a nice piece of paper and answer these questions. You will find, this is very simple to do. Okay, so there's the next person says, probe your invention and its deepest human layers. Exactly. So yeah, so that's too much to discuss right now. I will not go through that. But when I ask the question, do you have human layers, like deep human layers? Of course, you have different feelings, right? I don't know whether what Lakshan, because I told about Lakshan, so he's coming up with great ideas. Now, Lakshan's idea about this one, so I'll read it again. Probe your invention to its deepest human layers. So maybe his take is different. My take for this. Now, why people do create great stuff like Facebook from Zuckerberg, and then Instagram from whoever I can't remember, and TikTok from some Chinese guy. Why? In our human desires, everyone like to show our work, show our love, show our sex, show our, I don't know, magic power, whatever. So that's what's happening in TikTok. People wanted to share their stuff, and then they know how to monetize also, right? So they want to react, act, whatever. So all these things are human nature, right? And Instagram, everybody likes to get love, or at least likes, right? So that is the human nature. People want to show off their skills, their picture, their, I don't know, body or whatsoever, right? That's feel like implicitly, internally, it feels good for some people. Maybe for all of you also. Maybe some people like nudity. So you wanted to put your nude body and get your likes. Some people are there. Right? That's the reality. So deep human layers, there are feelings. So in the future, we don't know what would be getting as products. That is the one. And of course, out of the box concept, very good. And feedback loops, equilibrium, bottlenecks. Exactly, bottlenecks, great. So find out the bottlenecks. That's system thinking. Now get the whole problem, find the bottlenecks. Okay, and figure out the bottlenecks, codify the bottlenecks, understand the bottlenecks, then find out solutions for the bottlenecks. You clear it up, you have done a great job. Thanks for our participant to sharing that. Learning bottlenecks is another one. Think about your own self. What are the bottlenecks that you're having? Yeah, just think through. So for me, so I have one of the bottlenecks that I'm having for whole my workflow. Sometimes I'm not disciplined enough. Even though I have put my dates into several chunks, I say, okay, now I'll watch a movie. That's not the discipline. That's my bottleneck, because it get tied up there. Then thereafter, all my works get, it goes some other way around. So that's one thing. Okay. And then we have Iceberg model, event patterns, underlying structures, mental model. Great. Yes. Logic model. Yeah. So I'm not going to talk too much about these things. Some of them, yeah, you can please like share this. I will have a kind of a document. I think this is very useful. And Swiss Army knife approach. Ooh, that's great. Someone want to add anything on that? I think anyone want to add anything on what you written down? I think just I'm speaking is bullshit. So you guys can also comment on things. Guys, don't be afraid to talk. I'm assuming that all are interested and all are in the subject and all are in the lesson. Of course, you're doing something else. Interest doesn't matter, right? Or sorry, your way of expressing it doesn't matter. But I'm assuming some of you are listening. Yes. Anyone want to share something that you wrote about? Okay, so there's this other one called compounding, which is I really value. Compounding is great. Compounding can not only be for investment. So as an example, compounding says compounding interest. You put something down today, 1,000 rupees. Next month, 10,000. Next year, maybe you're earning more, 100,000. But compounding interest comes in millions, guys, millions. Similarly, same compounding mental model can be used for learning. So only now, if you have a problem, now we say time box, 5-minute time box. If you don't like to do something, what the hell, I don't like to do it. I feel really upset about it. But say, you can think like this. I don't like this stupid assignment. I don't like this stupid assignment. I don't want to work on that. So you just keep procrastinating and you'll never do it. But say no, I will have to do it. No, I'll only do 5 minutes. Do it for 5 minutes. Right? Do it for 5 minutes next day. Do it for 5 minutes. Your compounding effort is after 3 days, you feel a bit comfortable. This is great work. So okay, my portfolio I have done this, I have done that. So after some time, 5 minutes, I put 6 minutes. And the next day, 5 goes to 10, 10 goes to 15. After 2 months time, you can't remove it from your life. You will always work on your portfolio. You will work on a book. You will work on a journal. You will work on a consultancy. You will work on your skills. Every day you'll try to reflect on you. It will never go out from your life, and you will become the best of yourself another 10 years time. If you want to become a millionaire, you become a billionaire. If you want to become, I don't know, somebody who want to convince people, influencer, you'll become the best of it. So compounding is a great one. Try it in that model. 5 minutes a day. So there are things that I really don't like to do. I hate doing that, but I know I have to do it. So I do it for 5 minutes only. But there are things like that I started doing, but now I'm doing like, a lot more times. I'm just following these things that I'm talking about. Yeah. So I really want someone to talk about at least a one. So I've been talking throughout. No, can someone please come and talk about it? Rohana, do you want to add anything?
Not the most.
Okay, thanks. Anyone else? Srikanth, you want to add anything? Srikanth, are you there? Yes. Sham, can you tell me a bit about the iceberg model a bit? Yeah, Sham. Can you please explain a bit about the iceberg model?
Actually, it's went through 4 phases. Everybody thinks about reacting for an issue, but actually it's based on anticipate, design, reform, and transform.
Oh,
and there are some questions to be what happened before. That's under anticipation phase. And what lead to patterns, and what assumptions and beliefs and values do people hold, that those are under transform phase.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. I think, yeah, so it might take a bit to, can you give an example if possible, if you can think of any, otherwise it's okay, I understand. Any application or example that you can apply even in your own life or as a consultant? It's all right. Okay. And then of course there's some very interesting one: systems theory, management, business similar. Okay, and contingency theory, technology systems theory. Great. You know, I think most of you are aware. And also Lakshan, yeah, please share that page to me. Okay, you have already shared. Sorry. Okay. Can you please reshare it to me? Maybe I missed it. So I can, if you're okay, I can share with everyone else. Okay, so I don't know whether you guys can see my screen. Somebody has shared this nice one, consultancy model for people who believe in consultant success. Yes. Yes, Udiana, you want to add anything? Yes. Yeah, please, when once you have this nice article, please you can share here also, and also please add it to YouTube as WhatsApp as well. So this is very valuable for everyone to see, guys. Okay, so Lakshan has shared his own blog. I think this is what you all have to do, right? So I believe Lakshan is okay to show this, right? Do I have the consent to show? I think it's okay, right? This is public documentation. So he has already prepared his blog. So I think every one of you have to do this, guys. So if you are now, this is part of your assignment as well. So yeah, so he has written about things about wireless sensor networking and about projects. Yeah, so this is something that he has done, and this is great, right? So this is great work. So guys, and projects, articles, whatsoever, and you can start with something very simple like this, and then you can build up a great portfolio. Please do that. I think every one of you should have something like this. And of course, guys, end of the day, build up something on Linktree. In Linktree, you can have all of it. If you have an Instagram, if you have a LinkedIn, whatever, you can have it there. And also there's a nice one that I found out recently. Let me think, let me check, what is that one? Sorry. Actually, it is this one, SnapLink. Let me take you there. This is another one that you can use. This is Linktree is another one, which you can add your portfolio into one document. And this one is another one, snaplink.com. So basically, you can add all your links, portfolios into one document, and you can have a very simple link which you can share with anyone. So let's see one of those guys. I hope you guys can see it. Yeah, so this guy is working on different things. So everything is linked here. So whatever he want to show, everything is here. So he's working Behance and LinkedIn, his personal website, right? So similarly, everybody can, kind of add whatever they are doing into a one page. So there was one actually I wanted to. Okay, this is one of my students. Actually, I don't know where have I taken this. He's like a UX consultant. So he's having his Instagram, Twitter, Clubhouse, the Behance, Facebook, and whatever he's doing in Sri Lanka, the Slack channel and the Clubhouse page, and then of course he's learning and whatever. So this is something that you guys can do. Right. Then of course there were some other links shared. Yeah. So this is good. Systems thinker, systems thinking, what, why, where, and how. So this is great. Right. So please read these things and apply. If you don't apply, there's no value again. And this is consultancy model. So there are models created, which is systems thinking, guys. Right. Okay. Any questions up to this point? Any questions, guys? So all good? Are you all clear now? So hope everything is good then. So let me go to now this question list and we'll discuss this now. So hope you extracted the base concepts today. Anyway, so just want to double check whether everything, sorry, you can hear me. Am I audible enough?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Sir.
Perfect. Right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now we'll try to understand how you can learn GDPR through this, obviously. And then, of course, as a consultant, what questions that you should ask, right? Of course, the other way around, but to ask from a GDPR concern, it's all almost the same. Right. So the general questions: what is experience in the field and privacy and data protection, right, guys? So the GDPR is a standard general data protection rules, right? So now one of the biggest problem that you are facing. So this can be useful for ISO 27000 or 22301, 20000, everything. So we are going to learn through multiple standards what and how we have to become a good or great consultant. Right. So we all understand the value of data because we are living in a data economy. Right. So without knowing about the data and the value of the data, it will be very, very difficult for us to understand. Without understanding the value of the data, we will not be able to understand the privacy and the protection side of it. So as you know, well aware, there were so many different issues in the data protection side. And you know that very recently, I don't want to talk about anything because still nothing is clear about this Epic Lanka situation. And the data privacy situation we'll not discuss, but probably next week we'll know a little bit more. We can discuss on that particular topic as well, right? So because we are living a data economy, we know how important to work on the privacy. And Facebook has recently launched not Facebook, but yeah, it's basically Facebook company, but recently launched another privacy layer for WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is heavily scrutinized on the I would say the more vulnerable approach on data privacy, and that's why people are going for places like Signal app and other things because they are not worried really about WhatsApp usage. So now they know that there is an effect on it. So now Facebook is working on a different security layer on that. So yes, so if you wanted to get a consultancy in this area of data protection, of course, you need to have a really good experience. But yes, so there are smart ways of understanding this. So the whole point is, if you want to understand GDPR in a nutshell, what you should understand is, okay, protecting our data is not that difficult. But the thing is, the data is everywhere. With a decentralized distributed system, data can be generated, processed, and stored, and also repurposed in many different places. So this is where the problem comes. There can be multiple legal boundaries, and how you basically take on data privacy in Sri Lanka is not how it is take on Philippines. It's not how it's take it on Iceland. So some countries are really curious, and they are really worried about how data's usage. So one has to be very, very careful on the usage of it. So there's their legality comes in. Also, there are other related concerns coming in. So because of that, data business is a big, difficult job to do. And also, there are already existing laws that can prevent people from, doing few things. So as an example, we are talking about when the GDPR has its implications into different areas, even like this machine learning explainability issues. So they are also another area that you have to worry about. So currently this GDPR is prominently available in European Union, right? But this can simply go into other areas as well. So everybody's talking about how can we implement similar structures, similar laws, similar regulations, similar rules in other places. So people, you have to understand data is a big topic these days. So if you're doing a research work and whatever, or your consultancy work, data is a great area. Now it's probably in Sri Lanka is a great area, and you know the incident of Derana, what did happen to them. That's also in a way, it's not only data, but it involved data related issues as well. Right. So what industries is familiar with? So what do you think? So it can be any industry, guys. So there's a specific industry, wherever and whatever you do, you need to obviously be familiar with data, right? So say it's the hotel sector, apparel, or even this health, right? So data is really valuable. As if not knowing about the value of data in each sector, you will not be able to work out. Right. How many customers has he had, which industry? So those are the basic ones. So now see, this is another way. So we are learning a lot of things here. So this is something that you also need to understand. To be a good consultant, you need to have a reference list. But initially, guys, like when you're working on this assessment, you'll not be having any references. So you can ask one of your friends to work out a problem, even a hypothetical problem. Get a reference. That's okay. You have to be smart on this, right? Work on a hypothetical solution and write a case study on that, and that can go in your website and then say this is my reference. No one says, okay, it's a bad thing, you haven't had a real, no, it's a real experience, because case study is a real experience. Is the experience related to SMEs or bigger companies? Okay, that's another thing. So SMEs, bigger companies, which is harder? SMEs can be harder because bigger companies always have standards, and they always have system thinking. But SMEs is a mixed bag. They don't know exactly what to be done. So don't expect the smaller companies, to have all this, right? So most of the time, smaller companies do not have what you call as this the proper standards, best practices, right, in play. So this is one of the issues that they're having always. And also, what is his reputation? What do other consultants say about him? What does clients say about him? That's another always something that is valued. The comment references. Okay, what is his business experience beside EU GDPR? Yeah. So as a consultant, even you go to a new standard, what matters is whether you have experience with something else. The standards are all same. These are best practices. So implementing standard is always similar. Does he speak language perfectly? Is it important? To some extent, yes. Right. So because different words have different meanings, so you don't have to fight the game of languages. So being a good communicator is always useful, right? Does he speak internationally spoken language, English, Spanish, and all that? So, okay, this is another great one that you can add it to your skills, guys. Try to learn a new language. I've been also fighting with that and procrastinating on this for a very long time. Maybe like select the neighbor's language, not Hindi but Tamil. Right, Hindi is also fine, but Tamil is more useful because anywhere you go, there's India town. So as a consultant, you go somewhere, you have Indian town, Chinese town, you have a Spanish town, but you don't have a Sri Lankan town, right? Even though you have it, Sri Lankans will simply ignore you, right? So forget about it. So anyway, so learning Tamil, probably learning Chinese is great, right? So because China is completely a different ball game, so knowing their language is very useful because that's where the money is created these days. And consultancy also, this is very useful. Let's say project management experience. Yes, so that is another one. Overall managerial experience is very important because when you want to do a GDPR type of projects, you have to completely, there will be several critical parts and there'll be a lot of process level changes, business process changes. So I would heavily recommend you to read about business process management. If you have never done it, get a good book. If you don't have a book, let me know. I'll find good books. And there are so many nice videos in YouTube. Read and understand how to model processes and at least like how to do a mind map on processes and do things like that. Very important. Right. Okay. So now we'll go to data protection experience question. Okay. Now see, okay, this is very important. How many GDPR compliance projects has he finished successfully the last? Okay, that's not important for us. What is his experience in other data protection requirements? Okay, that's great. Now, this is another cool thing that you should learn as a consultant. Now, when you are dealing with ISO 27000, if you don't know other standards which is in the same space, you'll be missing a lot. So as an example, initially for me also as a consultant, when I'm working with ISO 27000, there are similar similar standard used by many of those companies. Say it's COVID, say it's something like Octave, say it's something like COSO. So that, say it's some NIST standard. People do use standards, the good companies, right? So you need to understand what they've been doing it on it. Of course, there is a premier standard like ISO 27000. Then you have to let them know, guys. Okay, now what you're using is good, but this is better. Right? So you always say good to great, great to greatness. So similarly, they have to say, okay, what you're doing is COVID is fine, but COVID is very narrow in focus. But ISO 27000 covers a huge areas which is required for a normal everyday company. Right? Not saying COVID is bad. Probably you have heard about COVID control objectives from ISACA. They are working purely on the idea of implementing proper controls. ISO 27000 also does the same thing as we discussed, but they are doing a risk management approach and asset-based risk management approach, which can be better. which can be better always, right? So how was also in this case, remember GDPR is a very new one compared to what USA is having for a long time. NIST is having a data protection act and data protection rules for a long time. Even Sri Lanka, we had a something similar for some time. So try to understand these rules and laws had to be used with comparatively. So otherwise, if you don't know about these things, you are lost in the game. Okay, next question. What was the model? Sorry, most complex GDPR compliance project he has had and can be okay. Now this is a case where you don't have much experience. So can you tell me how to touch on this? So probably you have never done a GDPR compliance project, or for that matter, ISO 22301 business continuity implementation. So you never had done a desk project or a business continuity plan for a company. So that happened to me as well. So then where can you get those skills? Can someone please share it to me? Anyone? So Rishmi shared one thing that's really valued. Yeah, he says vendor specific blueprint. Exactly. What is the common term you use for these things? Case studies, guys. Read loads of case studies. Yes, so your book also will be a bigger case study for anyone who is doing this in next few years, but read many if possible. So one good is, like, if you don't find case studies itself, there are enough blog articles written by people like you, consultants. If you go to their forums, there are case studies. Extract those case studies. That's the way to go ahead. All right, moving on. Yeah, most complex. Okay, was he involved? I'm really worried why only he is used, right? So it's a gender specific, it seems. So you have a S and a dash, right? So he or she. Was he involved in projects involving multiple jurisdictions within the, okay, that's one of the main things. So this is where, guys, you need to have your overview about the legal system, right? So I want to do a quick survey. How many of you are knowledgeable about computer law, or would say cyber law and cyber crime law, or something related? Can you please quickly, there are, how many people are there now? We had around 50, now we have 45. Anyway, it's okay. Can you please comment on the knowledge that you have from out of 1 to 3? If it is 1, you have somewhat, 2 good, 3 is great. So can you please comment on every, because the reason is I will probably have a few sessions on that as well, even though it's not related. Because you are not learning these things in our master's course much, but I think we have to learn those things. Can you please comment on your skill level on computer-led laws? Thank you, Patrick. Others also. Please take 1 minute and do that, please. Just want to get a quick survey on that. Yeah, 1 is poor, right? All right, thank you guys. So I think so what I'll do is normally when I have online sessions, guys, I will try my best to do a discussion, which is very important. And all the other stuff what I'll try to do is I will put into recorded sessions and then upload it to the course web. Right, so that will be better. Anyway, so there'll be a session on like covering the legal basics as well into this. Okay, now then, okay, where were we? Okay, somewhere here, right? Okay, anyway, we'll start from there. What is his experience in accessing, creating inventories of processing activities? Okay, this is something very, very important, guys. Hope you can hear me. Yes. So you need to create inventories of everything, right? Whether you like it or not, inventorying in cybersecurity, whatever the standard or any other standard is very important. If you know inventory, you know the past, what had happened, what is happening, what is right now, currently issues and everything. You will understand every bit of it. So always try your best to get the access of the inventories. So if you don't know that, that will be a problem. Did he interact with supervisory authorities under what circumstances? Okay, now there can be situations where, you know, this happens in auditing as well. So when there's a fraud, you have to always go to the police, you have to go always to the I don't know, legal system, or whoever involved in controlling these things. So sometimes building up connectivity with other parties, other stakeholders, other stakeholders is valid point. So build your network. If it is cybersecurity, you should know somebody from SLCert. You should know somebody from TechCert. You should know somebody from one of the top auditing companies, or PwC, KPMG, E&Y. So build your network. So then you can ask, how do you build that network? Okay, so there are many platforms, right? LinkedIn to Clubhouse, or to a place like even these days Facebook to some extent, right? And the meetups, and I don't know how many of you have seen this Eventbrite page, right? So there are so many events happening. You can go and talk to these guys, right? And go into discussions and build up your portfolio. Let everyone see it. And the best place, one of the best places would be Twitter, guys. Twitter. And recently I did a nice thought experiment and it really worked out, right? I can show it to you. I don't know whether you guys can see this. Let me see whether you can get a new window. Can you guys see my web page?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I did a thought experiment, right? So, basically, I'm not I'm avid Twitter user as per se, like for passive receiving content, but I'm not being actively involved in tweets, talking to people. But I really wanted to do that, but no one watched or viewed my tweets for the last, I don't know how many months. And then I did a tweet called "These are the best YouTube channel," and I tagged all the guys. And also, I was really looking into this Hack5 guys for a very, very long time. And there's this guy called Darren Kitchen, which is the one who is doing that. And I add him and I said, Hack5 is the oldest and the coolest, nothing beats Hack5. So what happened, it became, for me, in my perspective, it became a viral tweet. And then initially what happened was Darren basically, he is actually a great security researcher. He presented several times in DEF CON as well. He said, thanks, InfoSec has come away since 2005. So see, like, he's been doing videos from 2005. So I was an avid viewer of his videos for a very long time. And then, of course, thereafter, you probably know, if you're doing bug bounty stock, is another hero, or a guy who's like very, very famous. He also retweeted the same thing saying heroes. He had watched Hack5 content, and then a lot of people replied on it, none that I know about, right? And mostly from US, who are really into hacking and other things, and of course criticizing why you didn't add this guy, why didn't add that guy, right? So it was really fun for me, and there were almost 101 retweets. That's the first time that had happened to me, guys. The point is, Twitter, you can just tweet to anyone as a question. So most of the time they answer. Most of the time, if the question is good, question is something useful, valuable, nothing any spam or anything, they will answer your question in a global space for everybody to see, right? So this is what I have learned. So please practice it. Use Twitter. There are Twitter spaces where you can talk with people. There are threads that is you can go and talk and ask questions and get connected with people. You can follow them and you can talk to them. This is a great place. With Sri Lanka, I think you all are part of it, but there are so many Sri Lankans, even like people like Professor Nilika, who is really a kind of a very good spokesperson for COVID, right? So they are all here, and even Nimal Perra, who is the brother of Dhammika Perra, is very popular and also very active in places in this place. So building up connections, guys, is ultimately important. With you not having any connections, you can't be a consultant. So guys, work on that really fast. Hope it's clear. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Perfect. Right?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
So yeah, so then
Yes, sir.
what is, okay, thanks. What is his educational path? Okay, that is also important, right? So you're doing the right thing, doing the masters. Good, great. Does he deliver GDPR training? Okay, the next one. Right. So why you have to become a lecturer, teacher, right? Okay. The thing is, there's this great physicist called Richard Feynman. How many of you know about Feynman? There's Feynman's standard model. Standard system thinking. Anyone knows about Richard Feynman? Go to YouTube, right? Search for Richard Feynman. His method is great, right? So he's one of the best teachers in the world. Richard Feynman, is it? I'm not sure about. Very sorry that Richard Feynman, is it? Feynman. Feynman. Yes, this is the one. Actually, it's F-E-Y. Okay, so this guy is so famous. He's saying one thing when you're talking about lectures. He says one thing. Even the most difficult concept like law of gravitation or any other concept, a very theoretical physics concept, if you can't teach it to a small child, you are not a good lecturer. For me, like, I'm not a good lecturer, I know that, right? So, but the point is, if you can't simplify it to a level where you can't explain to a small kid, you're not a good lecturer. So the point is this: if you can do a training on the same consultancy that you are supposed to do, and people can learn and understand it very easily, you are one of the best consultants in that field. Is that clear, Patrick?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So do you do any trainings? Have you done any trainings for people?
Yeah, of course, sir, but not specifically on leadership and
Okay.
kind of.
So now I think I highly recommend. So Patrick, if you now, of course, I know that you are building your skills in these areas through consultancy. I would highly recommend you to start a training on this 27,000 or any other standard. Right. So
Sure.
I will give my training program, very simple one in Udemy. I think this is there for a very long time. I have a course. I will give the link to that. You can watch that one as well. So I don't know that I have shown you this. Have I? Have I shown you this before?
No, sir.
Okay, so I have done it took only 1 hour, guys. It took only 1 hour, right? And this is a course which I did. I have earned almost $600, which is 1,200 rupees. Sorry, 100,000 to 100,000 plus rupees from this course. 1 hour of my time in Udemy, but without any interaction. I haven't marketed this, nothing. Like when they sell $20 course, I get only $1. So, but there are 820 students, basically coming from, this is like a probably the worst course in the world because I took only 1 hour to do this, right? But still, it made me clear that, okay, I know I used to 27,000 because a lot of people said, okay, that course is good. So these are the people, actually a lot from Sri Lanka, around 200 and 130 from India, 70 from, okay, so you got the idea. So start a training of yours. That can be another part that you can write about in your book. At least you don't do a training, create training materials. That's another great part of being a consultant. Right? So I want all of you to work on that as well. Not mandatory, but it's good. So start a program in ITIL. Do have a training program, PCI DSS, because you become good enough of training. You know that consultant or that particular standard really well. I hope it's clear. Anyone else here doing any sort of consultancy training? You might think I'm still too young. Don't think like that. Change your mindset. Otherwise, there's no point of doing this to listen to these 2 hours here. Yeah, Jali, have you done any training before? Jali?
For normally, I have been for some training like firewall and all.
Oh, great. Yes. Yeah, now we can try out something in this line also. Set up your own YouTube channel or whatsoever, like, somehow try to do it, or do a course to Udemy or Skillshare. Don't worry, like, try planning for it. I think you'll be amazed of things that you can do, and you can improve your confidence levels. Anyway, let continue. It's almost 1. We have to finish at 1. Any expert articles? This is very important, right? Do articles, do blog articles, very important. Can we show you example documentation that he created for? Okay, that's fine. So that, see, like, they're asking for it. See, this is not I'm telling you. These guys from Europe who are doing a lot of consultancy, they're saying, do you have an example document show? That's why you have to do a blog. Lakshan have already done it. And this also quickly try to work it out. Next week, I'll do a simple audit and see how you have added your portfolio. Do you have your LinkedIn page now? You create a Facebook page for you, right? So for me, like, I have one. Even though I don't like actually work for it, you work for it, for your business. Do it, right? Can you briefly describe GDPR requirements and the usual steps to achieve? See, step-wise case study. What is the minimum documentation that needs to be developed? What are the most common issues he has faced in GDPR? Okay, now I think you understand, right? And the pricing, the next important one. What is the total price of his service? What are the additional service? So I have one last thing to share, then I'll stop the session. Okay, Rizmi, thank you. Okay, that's great. You're a certified trainer. That's another thing that you guys can become a certified trainer. That will be hugely valuable for your consultancy journey. Become a consultant trainer, right? MCT or a Cisco trainer. Being an MCT or a Microsoft certified trainer can be much easier. You can do one good certification, and then you can show your training knowledge or whatsoever. Then you can become a trainer. Do that, please. Okay, one last thing. Yeah, so what I was talking, pricing. Now I'll ask this question, guys. Don't worry if you are earning big, right? That's fine. Let me do this question, right? I'll ask this question. Meantime, use the chat and please fill in. Don't worry. Put it. Be honest and put it in the chat window as public post. What do you think is your hourly rate? And how much you're earning per hour in your life that you're living right now? That's what is the amount that you're getting month's time, no? So I don't want to calculate your salary. That's not the point. Here, what I want to say is, right now, what is the hourly rate that you value your work if you're working? So, okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so yeah, that's sort of teaching in Dhamma school, and yeah, smartphone. Yeah, that's great. That's great, and that's the level of training that we should, because to teaching for like small kids are very difficult. Teenagers, they're very difficult. Anyway, coming back to my question, put down, if somebody asks how much I have to pay per hour of your life. If I want to get 2 hours from you, 3 hours from you, per hour rate, dollar rate in your life. Yeah, can you please quickly put it in the chat window? We don't have a lot of time. Please, guys, take only 1 or 2 minutes. Thank you. One guy, 40 USD. Perfect. Perfect. 20. Okay. I think we can put more weight into it. 45. That's great. I don't know whether I asked this question earlier, but think serious about it. Right? Think serious about it. So if you are somewhere around 50, that is almost 10,000 rupees per hour. Here in Sri Lanka, that's good, I think. Right? But if you are on 20 level, $20 or less than $20, $10, I think you have to improve yourself. This is the value that you put in. Now, this is important in a way. I tell you, that's the other concept coming, delegation. I'm also not a good delegator, but recently I've been working on this same theory. Right? It's domestic, of course. Thank you. So yes. So now, if you have a job to do, and if you think, say, updating your website, updating your Facebook, even if it's a business, the value that you bring down from doing it is $20. Right? Don't do that. Delegate that work, and do something else that you can earn $50, and then pay that $20. You have a profit of $30 there. So by knowing your value, right, per hour on dollar rate, you can get a good idea whether if there's some task to do or to just to say, no, I can't do that. Sorry. Right? If you're getting someone want to do some $10 work, don't do it. Because your one is 50. But if you really want to get that amount, what you should do is actually, if you think your value is around $50, get that job, maybe outsource it to someone with can do for $5 and get that $5 and save it. Right? But don't you shouldn't put your effort to doing that. Right? Okay, not every client willing to pay the Indians. Oh, okay, yeah, this is a problem of staying in the subcontinent here. Always some people are there to sell their services for lower. But yeah, so then what is the solution? Always try to show your supreme, your premium, your great. So that's what you have to do. You have to show build your portfolio in a way where they look at your work items, they will feel good about it. Oh, okay, this guy is better, something like that. Right? And you have to filter yourself from the lot that they're selling their services for a very cheap amount. Okay, guys, believe that you have learned that lesson. So in summary today, the main crux point is that you need to have systems thinking. So please reflect on other data, right? Take sit down and use Rome Research or Notion, whatever, and write down whatever you have learned today. So this will be the first point. You have to use systems thinking to become a great consultant, to whatever the standards, because standards whatever they're trying to say is that you use systems thinking, guys. Right. So then the next point is, if you even learn about systems thinking and understand few areas of systems thinking, and if you just learn about it, it's bullshit. It's not going to take you anywhere. Try to apply at least 3 things today onwards into your life. At least deep work, at least journaling, at least this PPV model, or whatever that is convenient. Iceberg method, 4WH method, right? And then even Varnapala method if you're not married, I don't know, right? So whatever that is convenient to you, whatever value to you, or maybe Opera's method, Opera Winfrey is using a different model, and all the Charlie Munger's model for investment, or if you like Sri Lankan models, Mahinda Rajapaksa model, right? So he's also a good systems thinker. He knows exactly how the political system works. He's a very patient man. I really value because he's been very patient, right? So of course there are bad things about every people, but we try to extract the good things. Even look at the religious leaders, Lord Buddha to Jesus to Prophet Muhammad and to Dalai Lama to whoever is living right now. They have their systems thinking models. Lord Buddha said to all the clergy, okay, don't not a single, no, 2 people should not, walk in the same road. So he delegated the work and he distributed his following to go everywhere. When India is a big country, and it worked out, and some people went to China as well, right? So that's why Chinese people learn Buddhism, right? So see the systems thinking, and there are many actually you can learn from religious leaders, of course, right? If you look, they are really good communicators, leaders, and they knew the business models as well, even though they wanted to earn money, but they earn a lot of other things. Okay, that's like the base concept. And then we talked about okay, some resources I given to you, so use the resources. And then I think we talked a bit about the assignment as well. I believe now you know what exactly to be done, so work on it. So next week I'll check the progress, and I told you I will upload some videos on the content which is like direct like lecture slide content. We're not going to discuss here because the time is more important for our discussions. And also we ask you to work on some skills should be mapped with the systems thinking. And then finally, I showed you this different type of standards. So we work on the GDPR, probably you got the base reference on GDPR. And also you need to develop these toolkits. So questions and whatever templates and everything you need to build. Yeah, and also train the trainer. Okay, that's fine. So then of course, finally, I think I shared you about this cloud certification on Oracle. Please work on that. I think that will be really valuable. Try to do a certification within those 6 months. I have done last offering 2 certificates, which are really valuable. So please update that. And also Cisco Academy, I think I given you the site, sorry, the course no free. So I'm going to activate some exams which you can do. yeah, so that's all about it. So that I need to finish the session right now. If you need to have another discussion on the assignment, we'll do that. Don't worry. So, but work hard on that. And that's about it. So if you have any questions, you can shoot now. Otherwise, we can stop because I'm 10 minutes extended. I'll stop my video right now.